Hello, everyone, and welcome back to North to Prem. In this episode, we have two National League North fixtures that we're going to be doing, one against Alfreton and one against Scunthorpe, both at home. Last time we were here, we obviously had that FA Trophy game against Hemel Hempstead and the league game against South Shields, where we've lost them both. Thankfully, between that and this episode, we have managed to pick form back up again. We've got a double over Bishop Stratford, so we had an away 1-0 win and then a home 5-4 win. Absolutely crazy stuff in both games. Away, nice, simple little 1-0 win. Didn't really anything much happen. And then just a few days later, we do the home game and it all kicks off. We also followed that up with some nice victories against Tamworth with 4-1 win there, 2-1 over Banbury, a 2-0 over Chester. And then previously we did have a 1-all away to Scarborough. We were actually leading the game and we were massively the better team, but they did pull back a very late equaliser to deny us of all 3 points. But all of that means we have climbed up the table once again. We are now sitting ninth in the league, just 4 points out of the playoffs. And looking at the form that we've been under since we took over, I mean, this is league title form. This genuinely is league title form. I think if we look at the stages and we look at the first half of the season, we're all the way down sort of mid-table-ish, whereas second half of the season, you can actually see we are top of the league, 6 games in, 5 wins and a draw. So it just shows you how much better we've been under my tutelage than the previous manager. Obviously, the club were rock bottom of National League North when we took over, so it's been quite the turnaround. Now, part of that has been staff. We have brought in obviously different personnel to help work with this, and we do have a bit of transfer business. So the last time you were with us was the 12th of December. So since then, we have brought in a number of players. Ben Wyatt has joined us on a free transfer from St Albans. He actually was playing for St Albans in National League South, but for some reason they were very happy to let him go. He's a left back. We definitely needed a left back, and we definitely needed a left back because our usual left back, Louis D'Souza, who was obviously on a non-contract, got an offer to play for Cray down in the Isthmian Premier and decided that was better than playing in National League South. Not sure I agree with that, but there you go. We also lost Ryan Fryatt on a free. Well, we didn't lose. We moved on Ryan Fryatt. He's went to Charlie, who are actually playing in our league. He's yet to make an appearance, so clearly not a big miss. Andreas Aguirre, who was another one on a non-contract, the young Spaniard midfielder, he decided to go play back in his native home of Spain in the lower leagues. So he's moved there on £625 a week, which fair enough. We've also thankfully managed to move on Peter Crook. He was the goalkeeper that we had previously, who was on about £500 a week on a 3-year deal. So we've thankfully been able to move him on, and he's gone to Stockport in League Two to just be a backup over there. All that means that we have brought in a few new players. Charlie Hayes Green is a young 19-year-old centre-back who's joined us on loan from Bolton till the end of the year. We're just paying £100 of his wage when he plays. Or when he doesn't play, it's basically the same amount. So £100 either way. We've also brought in Josh Hines on a free transfer. He's previously of Bradford PA and Boston United on loan, but did sort of start his career at Hull. Hasn't really played too much football in and around the men's game, but he has joined us on a 1.5-year deal. So he's joined us till the end of next season on £110 a week. He can play on the wing, he can play up front. It's good. It's good cover. It's good versatility to have, and he's young and he's cheap. And we've also brought in Ellis Craven. He is a young goalkeeper. He's came on loan from Norwich. Actually had a really good game. He's only played the one. He did keep a clean sheet, but we do want to obviously give games to our young goalkeeper that we've got faith in. George Robertson. Some of his attributes are starting to go up, so I decided to throw him back in the starting 11. I think he only played one of these games. Yeah, he played the Chester game. Where he did keep a clean sheet. But besides that, it's been George Robertson. And honestly, besides the 4 goals he conceded against Bishop Stratford in the away game, he's been pretty good. He tends to just get a pretty normal rating, but he is quite good. He is obviously still 16 years old and, not the best goalkeeper, especially not mentally or physically, but, some of his technicals are decent. I like him. I want to keep him in the team because he is young and because he is our player. I'd love to see him grow and be a real player for us. How much this potential is accurate, I don't know, but we'll obviously wait and see. But in terms of contract renewals, we have managed to sign a few players on extended deals. So As you can see, we have managed to extend quite a few of these. Olamide Ibrahim has come back from his injury, and he has also extended his contract till the end of next season on £180 a week, nice and cheap. Kane Felix has signed a new deal on £375 a week till next season. Josh McCammon has now got a new deal till the end of next season on £450 a week. We have obviously tried to sign Dan Mooney onto a new deal, but it's too early. He doesn't want to renew with us just yet. We obviously just signed him pretty recently. Brandon Lonsdale signed a new deal, £90 a week till the end of next year. Obviously, these are only players who are kind of good for this level. If we were to go up, they probably would be moved on or loaned out. But as a rotation option, £90 a week, pretty much perfect. Caleb Chukwuemeka has unfortunately picked up another injury, so he's going to miss both of these games today. We have tried to offer him a new deal. Sometimes he doesn't want to, but then when he did actually agree to sign a new deal, he had some crazy requests. So whether we renew him or not is really just going to depend on him, whether he stops kicking up a fuss. He's got 10 and 23, so he's been pretty good. I would like to have him. I think he's a player that, regardless of what league we would in, he would be a good starting striker there. But so there's only really him and Mooney now that we need to renew. I think everyone else, Connor Johnson's on too much money. We don't need to get him renewed. Everyone else, I think we would be happy to let go. But yeah, so we really just need to get Chukwuemeka and Dan Mooney on new deals. But that's going to be something we can just look at as the season progresses. We are obviously getting into the sort of latter second half of the season now, so we do need to keep the good form going, try and get in the playoffs, and let's hopefully get that moving with our first game against Alfreton. So for the first of two games in the episode, we are at home to Alfreton in the league. This is the team that we're going with. We've got Robertson in goal, a back four of Ahui, Fox, Johnson and Ben Wyatt. Midfield two of Hugh Alban Jones and Ibrahim. And then a attacking midfield three of Felix, McCammon and Mooney. And then Josh Hines up top. Nicholson is someone who hasn't really been doing too well as of late. Dan Mooney's kind of replaced him. Dan Mooney's actually on a great record. He's got 6 goals in 8 appearances and 4 assists. He is looking really good. He's shown as a leading player in National League North, and it definitely looks like it. He'd probably be one that would definitely make the step up. He's currently only on £275 a week, so if we could get him on something similar, even with a little bit of a pay bump, something around in and around £400 a week, I think that would be a great renewal. But we've got our bench: Craven, Hayes, Green, Tootle, Nicholson and Lonsdale, with the rest of the players obviously missing out. And these are the kind of players, besides Chukwuemeka, that would probably be moving on at the end of the season regardless. But that's our team for our game against Alfreton. We have been doing really well as of late. I mean, in general, I think we haven't really changed the squad too much. There has been obviously some additions. I think the key areas that we're missing were probably goalkeeper, left back and defensive mid. And I think we've addressed all of those. Really, the attacking players were definitely good. I mean, even if we hadn't brought in Mooney and just kept Nicholson, I'm sure we'd still be doing pretty well anyway. But obviously, there are a couple of players here on loan that we would need to replace next season. I think next season, regardless of whether we go up or not, will be a bit of a rebuild. Oh my god! Oh, I thought Mooney had just pulled off something. I've seen it a few times this year. I have seen a few times, but I've never seen one so central, and I thought that might have gone in. I've seen my players do over various saves, quite a few overhead kicks, but I've not seen one go in. That would have been something special to open up the score here, but it wasn't to be. But we have actually managed to open the score just after that. Josh McCammon gets himself on the end of it. It looked like it was an assist from Ahui, but it hasn't gone down with it. It must have took a deflection before it got to him. But either way, Ahui has been credited with a little bit of extra and a little bit of extra praise there because his rating's gone up after that movement. But once again, I think we look really good, and I think if we came into the playoffs, whether we were, right at the bottom, we had to play the extra game, or whether we get further up and don't have to play an extra game, I think regardless, we'd be definitely one of the favourites to go up from the playoffs because we are in terrific form. I don't think I've lost more than a game or two in the league. It's been mostly wins, and the odd draw here and there is okay. Really, if we just stayed in this league, I think that would be a good first season. But now that we're doing so well, as I say that, Alfreton do get one back and have equalised. But in general, I think we're doing so well, and I think even if we do concede or we go a goal behind, I'm never really too concerned because we have scored quite a lot of goals this season. Mooney and Felix especially, and McCammon as well. That three there have really been contributing to a lot of goals, and I think that means that someone like Chukwuemeka doesn't have to score 20, 30 in a season for us to do well. The goals are definitely shared across across that front four, if you like. But we are currently drawn here, so we do need to definitely pick it up in the second half. Try and get the 3 points. We are very close to the playoffs, so we could even get into the playoffs this episode if we were to win both games. But we definitely want, I think that's got to be our aim with how well we've done. And McCammon there has picked up on a loose ball, but unfortunately his effort hits the inside of the post and just sort of drags itself across the rest of the goal line, and we can't get it in. But Felix is in behind, and what a save that was from the Alfreton keeper. McCannon from literally point blank range strikes it at goal, but the keeper just managed to leave a leg out there, and it somehow remains 1-1. I think we really should be ahead in this game with the chances we've had. But again, that just shows how much good work we're doing. We really are doing well, and I think if we were to go up, oh no, wow. That is a poor miss. That is a very poor miss. So I don't know what happened there. Who it was that played that poor ball back, but it did put the Alfreton striker in. But thankfully his effort went way wide. Robertson, I don't know whether it's just because his stats are really bad, but I've noticed quite a few times he just dives the complete opposite way to the way the ball's going. He's the kind of goalkeeper where usually I would say, oh yeah, I definitely want to replace him. And I think Craven is a good replacement. He is definitely someone that would definitely be good enough for us. And if he was any other goalkeeper, any other age, I probably would have just dropped him and played Craven. But he genuinely doesn't do too badly, and he has kept quite a few clean sheets in his games. And there's just something about him being 16 on a youth contract. I just love to have him progress at the club. But it's really down to him. It's really down to his progression. Obviously, we are a club with pretty poor facilities and pretty poor coaching staff as well. So the chances of him really progressing are probably pretty slim. I think if we had a much better setup, he'd probably be more likely to progress. But we have brought Tootle on there just because of who he did pick up a bit of a knock. 20 minutes to go. We really need to get that goal if we're going to try and go and win this game, because McCammon's effort is over the bar. But if you look at the stats, I mean, we've been dominant. We've been the much better side. So really, yeah, shots on target, but the shots we've had and the chances we've had, we really should have scored. It'll be very disappointed if we don't win this game. Even more disappointed if we're going to lose this game. But yeah, honestly, I think Robertson, it's more of an experiment, really. Well, not an experiment, but I do just want to see how far he can go. I think if we were to go up, we would have to replace him. I definitely don't want to risk a National League season with a goalkeeper who's only a regional division level goalkeeper, but we definitely want to keep him at the club, even if it means loaning him out. But I definitely want to keep him at the club as long as possible. He might even be someone I take with me if I move clubs, just as a, I don't know, just as a sort of semi-side goal to try and take Robertson up to the Premier League as well. I don't think he'd ever be good enough for it, but it would be funny just to see how far he could go. We'll make a couple of late substitutions here. We'll bring Nicholson and Lonsdale on because we are fortunately just not getting that goal that we need. We are still going up in the table, which is good. We were ninth coming into this game, but Alfreton are actually the one with a late chance here as they knock it in, and I think it was Ibrahim blocked the shot there. It wasn't Robertson's save, but again, very close to going behind there. And it is just going to be a 1-1 draw, which makes it 2 draws in the league, which is not really good enough. I'm definitely going to be unhappy with the team there because I think these are the teams that, realistically, Alfreton is down in 15th. I mean, we should be beating them. Thankfully, the teams in and around the playoffs have actually not really done too well either. So it does put us just 3 points behind Southport now. So if we could win our game and they lost, we would go in the playoffs for this final for this second game of the episode. So for our second game of the episode, we are again at home, this time to Scunthorpe, who are, I believe, up in third place. So definitely one of the favourites for promotions. This will be definitely a tough game, but this is the kind of game that we'd have to win if we wanted to win the playoffs. We're going for the exact same team again. The only difference, the only new addition is Giscombe. Ajani Giscombe, not sure about that name, has joined us on loan from Redden just on £200 a week. He does get we do have to pay £300 a week if he doesn't play. He is going to be obviously on the bench. I think McCammon definitely deserves to keep his spot with how good he's been recently, but it does give us another attacking option. He can only really play in behind the striker. Yeah, I guess he could play striker as well if he wanted to, but looking at his stats, the kind of technique, the finishing, the dribbling, the first touch, the off the ball, he's not the quickest. He doesn't work the hardest, but you know, some of his technique and Well, I guess it's some of his stamina as well, so he can definitely play quite a few minutes. He is currently shown as a leading Phantom Hour North player, but he does actually have Sky Bet Championship potential. So he is someone that's actually out of contract at the end of the season. So if he's someone we could pick up on a permanent deal if he enjoyed his loan spell, that would be a terrific signing for us with that sort of potential. But we're just going to stay him on the bench for now. Obviously, he will get his chance probably in this game as well. I don't think he's played football too much elsewhere. He has played 2 games for Reading in League One this season as well, but must have been absolutely the shortest amount of time because he didn't even pick up a rating in those games either. So this is the team that we're going for our home fixture against Scunthorpe. Let's give Jizcom a nice shiny new squad number. Scunthorpe, yeah, so this is going to be really a good litmus test for where we are as a club. Obviously, we would have to beat these sort of teams if we wanted to go up through the playoffs. So realistically, I mean, if we can't beat them here, it doesn't really spell too well. But we are doing well. We are in good form. We have obviously drawn our last 2 league games, so we really do need to get a win. A win here could see us go into the playoffs. I know I keep talking about the playoffs, but I think that really is where we have to have our aim. I think if we don't get in the playoffs now, we'll be a little bit disappointed just because of the good form that we have been on as Dan Mooney does pick up a knock there. We'll keep him on. It doesn't look like it's going to be anything too serious. It's just a gashed up a leg. He should be fine. It's a flesh wound. He can play through it. So he's already recovering. So we're doing well. We are at home though, so I would expect us to give these a good game. As Mooney swings in a corner, but Fox's header does just go wide of the post. We do look like the better side so far, and Kane Felix has actually picked up an injury, which is not good. Cameron, actually, I'm going to play. I was thinking of bringing Lonsdale on, but you know what? Let's put McCammon out on the wide, on the right hand side, and we'll bring. I don't want to call him Jizcom. It just sounds so wrong. We'll call him Giscombe. That just sounds wrong. We'll call him Giscombe. So Giscombe comes in for his debut in the middle. We'll move McCannon out wide. I don't think he really is a wide player, but I definitely want to play him rather than Lonsdale in this situation. But Kane Felix injury is a little bit upsetting because we don't really have a natural right winger. I guess it would be either Hines or Lonsdale once Chukwuemeka comes back from injury. But once again, yeah, not really any highlights to speak of. I mean, I guess both games is been pretty quiet really. There wasn't a lot of highlights in the Alfredson game either, which is okay with me as long as we win the game, but we haven't really looked like winning it so far. Mooney is just struggling a little bit, which is another reason why I didn't really want to take Lonsdale on at that moment. So we'll bring Lonsdale on for the left-hand side. Looking at that front four, it is very much a front four that doesn't provide a lot of goals. Hines has not scored yet as Whitehall's free kick. Jack Whitehall's free kick thankfully does hit the post, and Scunthorpe, with one of their really only their chances, really their only chance of the games, does hit the post and doesn't go in. It does remain 0-0, but they have got a chance here. But thankfully this time Wilson has put it over. And it does remain 0-0, but yeah, I think they definitely fancy their chances now. We've had to make a few substitutions. Still no goals, really. I don't really think Hines is much of an out-and-out striker. He is more, I mean, he's not really that good of a player anyway, but he is more of someone we'd probably want to play out wide. I'm not sure about him being a wide target forward at 5'9". I'm not really sure that suits him too well, but that's what the game thinks. We do also have Charlie Hayes-Green on the bench, who can play at centre mid as well, so we'll bring him on just to get him a little bit of game time. But he is definitely more of a naturally a centre back, but he can play as a ball winning midfielder as well. And maybe he should be someone who should be starting because he is rated a little bit better than Hugh Alban Jones by the ratings by the staff. But still 0-0 here. We do need to get a goal. And could Giscombe be a hero on his debut? He has been given the number 10 shirt, and I thought he had done. He'd whipped in the free kick, but unfortunately it's hit the woodwork and come back out. I thought he had done. I thought he'd made himself a hero. I mean, it's not been the best game debut from him, but he is severely lacking match sharpness, and that does really affect you. And this looks like it's going to be, well, I was going to say one of the more boring games of the series so far, but Scunthorpe did have a free kick there, but Giscombe will pick it up, and potentially we could get a late winner here on the counter. That would be brilliant. A little bit boring from him. He does play it back, and Ibrahim loses the ball, but it's fell to McCammon, who's looking for an option, doesn't find one, goes himself, but unfortunately the Scunthorpe keeper just manages to put it out for a corner. And Hayes Green, of all people, he should really be in the box with how big he is. He's the one taking the corner. Not sure what the set piece coach is thinking there. For some reason, we're wasting time. This is not a wasting time scenario. We want to go getting the winner. But apparently, we decided a draw against Scunthorpe is going to be good enough. I'm not sure who's I mean, I'm the manager, but I feel like set piece coach really should be he should be doing a lot better. Well, another draw, two very boring games. I'm glad I brought us back this episode for this one. I'm going to be harsh on the players again because, again, I mean, it's poor in front of goal, and unfortunately this time the draw does mean we actually go further away from the playoffs. We've dropped down to ninth again, so we pretty much end where we started, ninth, 4 points away from the playoffs. Obviously, we do have a game over some of these teams as well, so maybe playoffs isn't going to be as likely as we thought. Obviously, Scunthorpe, a point against third isn't really too bad. Looks like it's really going to be either Spennymoor or Buxton, which I don't think you would really fancy either of those to be winning the league. It would really more be someone like a Scunthorpe or a South Shields or maybe even a Chester. You never know. But you know what? We just needed to avoid relegation. So if we don't get that, it's fine. Felix is going to be out for 5 to 7 weeks. I mean, these 2 to 3 weeks for Mooney. I mean, these are really bad injuries, and that's probably our three best goal scorers. I mean, if we look at Felix, he's our top goal scorer in the league so far with 14 goals for himself. Chukwuemeka has got 10. And Mooney's another one. I mean, he's only got 6, but he's only played 10 games. So he's been absolutely lethal on goals per game. So, yeah, I mean, those are three really important players. So I think realistically, we're going to have a little bit of a shuffle around here. Probably put McCammon out wide and Giscombe can come in. Chukwuemeka does come back from injury pretty soon, but probably going to be a little bit till we get him back. So it's we are a little bit light in terms of our attacking players. So, yeah, hopefully we can bring someone in, or hopefully some of those injuries can. Obviously, Chukwuemeka comes back, that allows us to probably put Hines out wide and maybe put McCammon back in his favourite position in the middle. But yeah, so when we come back next episode, I'm thinking we'll come back for the home fixture against Rush Hall Olympic and then away to Southport. Kind of two different ends of the table there. Rush Hall down in 16th, Southport up in 5th. So we'll play a couple of games. We'll play these 4 games in between those episodes and hopefully start picking up some wins because we actually drew our last 3 games, which is really starting to put our playoff hopes in a little bit of concern. So I think we'll come back for Rush Hall and Southport. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all for the next one very soon.